So what do you mean? Is Gohan also some sort of legendary being? As ridiculous as that sounds, it might actually explain a lot. You should be very well aware by now that one does not need the help of a legend to reach astounding levels of power. That being said, you're not entirely wrong. I'll answer your question in full later. Oh, is it because he's half Saiyan, so he has some sort of special power that normal Saiyans don't have? But that would mean Goten and Trunks possess the potential to unlock this power as well. Maybe they do and we don't know, or maybe Gohan might be like a sort of legendary half Saiyan. Preposterous. Regardless, there'd have to be a legend to go along with the form, and no such half-Saiyan legend exists in Saiyan mythology. It would be more likely that he is some sort of legendary human, and said legend has been lost to time. No, Goku, Vegeta. This is a much different matter. Today we continue Dragon Ball Multiverse's spin-off, Blancoverse, the story of the origin of Beast Gohan in Dragon Ball Super. Back in Universe 11 at this exact same time, Jiren walks up the steps to this massive building, but he feels something, he senses something. This is the moment that Jiren feels the ki coming from Gohan and Piccolo, who are right now in an epic battle between Orange Piccolo and Beast Gohan. And Jiren alone knows the gravity of this power, and he is interested. Feelings are often hard to describe. Never once has Gohan questioned the nature of the many mystical energies he and others constantly use in abundance. Yet now he turns to an old mentor to solve a riddle he somehow desperately wants to know the answer to. What is this new power? And this intro to the continuation of the fight basically sums up exactly what's going on, which is Gohan and Piccolo, they're both in a epic sparring match with their new transformations. Piccolo's trying to figure out the extent to his power. He kind of already knows where his power came from, but he's trying to figure out the limits to it. But at the same time, right now, he's trying to help Gohan figure out exactly what Beast Gohan is. What is this beast power? And exactly like that intro where Goku and Vegeta are trying to figure out where does this power come from, we're all trying to figure that out, and it sounds like Whis knows the answer. And for now with this fight, Piccolo and Gohan are on equal footing. They are essentially not overwhelming the other with their new power. They are pretty equal, they're even, but for how long? We don't know how long that's gonna last, how far Piccolo can push his new transformation, and what are the hidden depths to Gohan's transformation. But he says it right here. He says that this transformation, the beast transformation, it's like making him want to seek answers. It's like the transformation, the power itself, has him forced and focused on a sense of what the hell are we? What are we now, and how much further can the beast transformation go? And just on size alone, this does not surprise me when Piccolo gets a damn good uppercut, because Piccolo's arms are so much longer than Gohan's just by the reach alone and the imbued power of Orange Piccolo from Shenron. This is definitely a hit that is no laughing matter, and honestly on a normal Saiyan, on a normal day, this will knock them out. Piccolo is quick to follow up on his success because he uses a technique that focuses all the energy he's got and force into his elbow, elbowing Gohan further out away from him. He's trying to get Gohan at a distance and as completely disoriented as he possibly can, because this next attack that Piccolo seemingly is about to charge up here is something that needs a lot of room to breathe, and it's one of my favorite attacks in all of Dragon Ball, let alone Piccolo's. As Gohan quickly recovers, you see that he's taken minimal damage and he's not like completely out of it right now. He's just a little bit disoriented. He sees what I can only describe as Hell Zone Grenade, Piccolo's finest move that needs to come back for some love. And I want to see, I mean, right now we're seeing the Orange Piccolo version of this, but I want to see it in actual animation. I want to see that Hell Zone Grenade go off. Gohan, quick to action. He is immediately realizing the danger that he is presently in and how powerful this attack actually is. This attack has thousands of ki blasts, each with the same level, same strength of ki and attack power, and they all follow you. They have basically honed in on your position. There are thousands of honing missiles directly guided toward their target, and if Gohan takes any bit of damage from all of these, combine, which is what it's meant to do, this could be putting him in a rough spot. He could actually lose this match. So Gohan flies as fast as he possibly can, and I mean, in this transformation, it's gotta be like some of the fastest flying that we've definitely seen in Dragon Ball. Probably the fastest anybody has gone on Earth, because this is the Beast transformation, and so it is the top tier when it comes to the Z Squad transformation. So he's going really fast and kind of outrunning them. They're barely catching on, and now because he's going through canyons and stuff and rocks, they are blowing up on impact. Like, he's losing a lot of them, which is good. Not good for Piccolo whatsoever. Almost all of them explode because Gohan is flying in a zigzag type pattern through this canyon, and they're just tearing up this canyon. Honestly, if these have the level of strength to hurt Beast Gohan coming from Orange Piccolo, you would imagine that each one of these blasts would be like mini nukes on this canyon surface. Like, it would just eliminate most life on this planet if you would think about it. But no, this is, you know, this is Dragon Ball. It's not going to do that. But Gohan realizes now that, yeah, even though he flew through the canyon to try to get rid of as many as he could, and you guys saw the canyon, the panels for the canyon when he's flying through the canyon, you saw that he blew up a bunch of them. A lot of them exploded in this canyon, but now there's more than there was before, and to me that means that most of them probably didn't go through the canyon. They probably went above the canyon because of the fact that they're not trying to get blown up. So Piccolo can almost kind of control these in a sense through his manipulation of this attack. This technique is that powerful. Piccolo is not amused, and he is not impressed with Gohan's strategy here, his tactics, because dodging, running away, that's something that's meant to be in the favor of this attack, because once you get tired enough and your ki is low, you will get hit by this attack. And Piccolo tells it how it is. If he keeps on dodging, if he keeps on trying to blow them up with the planet itself, then he'll just make more. He'll make more to chase them down. Like, he will make as many as need to get the job done. And Gohan knows this, and he's getting kind of upset by it. Piccolo has him on the run now. There's a never-ending source of these ki blasts that are basically homing missiles, like a never-ending source of missiles coming right at you. Eventually, when you start losing steam, they will catch up to you and they will destroy you. Still evading, still running away, Gohan stops at the bottom of a canyon and quickly, and you can see just the level of speed here, he shoots north. He shoots up into the sky and heads off way ahead of them as they begin to blast into the bottom of this canyon. So he tried to round them all up and get them all to blow up at once, and at that point maybe he'll have to deal with less. But even as he's flying away, a few of these stragglers are still flying toward him, and for them to have this much of an impact on Gohan's decision making here, where he is flying away, he's trying to get as far away from them as possible, means that each one of these blasts probably has the potential to do really big damage to him. And if they stop him and they all hit him at the same time, it could honestly end the transformation and put him back into Mystic. So this is a serious attack that Gohan is trying to defend against by running away. Gohan stops mid-air, and in this scene, this panel right here, he essentially accepts his fate, because he stops, they don't stop, they're still coming. You can see that now there's the same amount as there were earlier, so him dodging, running away, and trying to make them explode really didn't do much to stop his attackers, to stop them from coming at him. And I love his face right here in this corner panel right here. He's just kind of like accepting the fact that they need to blow up on him, or at least maybe he's got something up his sleeve, some way of stopping them. But it looks like they've made contact in this panel, and they're in the early stages of blowing up, which they do. And you see that Piccolo is getting gassed out here. He got a little bit gassed out, not only maneuvering them, but creating more. But he laughs here. He thinks that, you know, this is it. This is over. And he verifies that if all these had hit Gohan, which we don't know if they haven't yet, they may have. I don't know the next panel. I'm reading this with you guys. I haven't read ahead. But he thinks that this would have ended Gohan, at least ended his transformation, maybe knocked him out. And even though, you know, he's got all this power from the Beast Gohan transformation, he still has a lot to learn. And Piccolo is kind of like chiding him here, because like, yeah, you know, you may have to go back to school on this one. Piccolo says here that Gohan should have gone directly for the offensive and directed the attacks back on him, similar to what Goku did with Frieza on Namek. And he says that it's not the balls that have cornered him, it's basically Piccolo. Piccolo's the one using the battle strategy and the tactics that he knows to keep Gohan on the run. Gohan made the wrong decision by trying to evade them and run away. And Piccolo's kind of like patting himself on the back here, because he says no matter how strong and powerful that you are, battle strategy is the most important thing above all. And realizing this, he also says that, I mean, he tried to help Gohan figure out this new power of his by sparring with him. And remember, the rule between them was that in the beginning of the sparring match, Gohan was never to exceed the power that Piccolo has, because Gohan's power is much greater. But even though that's the case, Piccolo says it's tough because he'd have to get past that ledge to kind of have the upper hand against Piccolo. And Piccolo thinks that if he were in that position where he had to keep the same level of power, being on the run like he was, then yeah, it'd be rough for him as well. Then Piccolo suddenly realizes he has not felt his energy at all since it blew up. Like, can it be that he got blown up to smithereens, that Piccolo took this test too far? But no, that was not it at all, because Piccolo turns just in time for Gohan to lunge right at him, block through his arms, try to get in a hit, but Piccolo is too fast and he catches it. Remember, that was the problem he had earlier. He couldn't get past Piccolo's long ass grasp, so he tried to get through it by faking his own death essentially. But no, it seems like more likely Gohan muted his power level so nobody else could sense it, then came in to try to get in for the kill. Piccolo is pissed because it looks like Gohan is completely unscathed from the attack, and he thinks that Gohan cheated and raised his power level to withstand the explosion, although you would think his clothes would be completely tattered if that was the case. But no, Gohan says it was quite the opposite. He reduced his power all the way to 0, so you know, Piccolo really couldn't sense him because that was the case. But the way he did it was that he released all his ki, all his energy in like one concentrated form, almost like making a mirage, which he hoped that the homing missiles would be attracted to, and they were. They actually went for his mirage, which was the ki that he expelled from his body. And after that, he dropped, kept his energy and his ki low, that way he can sneak up behind Piccolo and try to finish him off, which to me, that's like a brilliant way to stop that attack. And having ki mirages as a technique is something that I think it would be so cool in the Dragon Ball anime to put in there. Like, I love the fact that Dragon Ball fan manga artists and creators, and even like the animators that do the Dragon Ball fan movies and animations, like they come up with creative ways to use ki that I've never seen before, and this one I have never seen before. Piccolo just stares at Gohan like, this dude right here, can't believe this motherfucker right here. And Gohan's like, it looks like you're as sharp as ever though, because you stopped my attack at the last second. Gohan was surprised, but then Piccolo like headbutts him and says that the sparring session is now over. And Piccolo says that he's learned enough about Gohan's power to come to a conclusion. Remember, that was the only reason they were doing this to begin with. Piccolo is completely impressed with Gohan's ki control, because not only can he, keep the ki at the same level throughout the entire fight as Piccolo's, just like Piccolo asked, even though the pressure of the battle was like asking for him to make it higher, only for Gohan to release all his ki in a ki mirage for the attack to go after in one instant, and in another, a few seconds later, charge back up for the ending attack, which is something that even Piccolo would have a hard time doing. So Piccolo's actually curious how he managed to have such a high level of ki control when Gohan barely trains at all. Gohan just says that it's intuition. He just feels that it's what he has to do in a fight, and then it just ends up working out for him basically. Like, he's able to just do these things relatively easily without having any training. But Piccolo is not buying it. Intuition does not give him the capacity to do the things that he's been doing in the first place. There's absolutely no way. Regardless of how strong he is, people need to train to get this kind of control. Piccolo comes to the conclusion that Blanco is not a simple power-up. It has a lot of strangeness to it, and it's not just a normal transformation. He thinks that it grants the user unnatural talents, especially in ki control, making it so the user can use ki at an advanced level, as well as fight at an advanced level. That's why Gohan can fight at such a high tier, higher than most people that, you know, don't really train and don't do anything else. Piccolo thought originally that it could have been Gohan's Saiyan blood that is keeping him so good at fighting even though he's not trained. He doesn't think that's normal. He thinks that the transformation is granting Gohan higher levels of fighting and instinctual fighting than anybody else would possess. Gohan immediately thinks about his dad, that this form is similar to Ultra Instinct. I mean, it looks very similar, and it's a form that you can fight without thinking, so could Beast be a form like that as well? Piccolo thinks that it is very similar, but it's different in major ways because Ultra Instinct has a huge stamina burden, while Gohan had shown no signs of fatigue throughout the entire fight. And even though Gohan has been fighting at a higher level, Gohan's body is not fighting on its own accord, unlike how Ultra Instinct makes their user evade on its own. But this is what Piccolo is getting at, that since Blanco is so strongly resemblant to one of the angel forms, then maybe he can talk to Whis and get more information about the form, which makes sense. If Ultra Instinct is an angelic form or a form very similar to the angels, maybe there's others that are similar like Beast that could be an angelic form. Gohan 100% is down to go talk to Whis as soon as possible. Meanwhile, in Universe 6, somebody stands up on a stage in front of a large crowd and Pride Trooper Superman. The mysterious stranger walking up is none other than Toppo in his Sunday's best. And as he walks up to the podium, he thanks the announcer for the introduction that he had given him, and he says, as Lieutenant Wazowski said, we are gathering here today to celebrate our recent victory on planet Guago. But Lieutenant Wazowski, this guy looks kind of like Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc. So I see the resemblance here. I see why they put that here. But apparently the Pride Troopers are celebrating a victory on a planet full of terrorists that was one of the most toughest battles the Pride Troopers have had in their entire history. Toppo talks about some of the details on this mission, saying that the civilization of planet Guago was deep underground. Most of them are underground in tunnels. So they had to first go through operations deep underground, which isn't just normal expertise for all the Pride Troopers. It's not normally what they do because a lot of them can fly. I would imagine they're more comfortable up in the air, and then they have to go into kind of like tunnel rat situation, close quarter fighting with using minimal ki, going through the dark grimy tunnels. In the end, even though it was a brutal fight, they had a planetary siege on the planet for 3 months and then clean up for 12 months to eliminate all the terrorists. So I don't know if that means that the entire civilization were terrorists or they were just terrorists on the planet, because partly this could mean that, you know, these guys, this is a bad planet, so, you know, they killed all the terrorists that were there, or this could be like a genocide by the Pride Troopers. I have no idea what they're talking about. So even though they're celebrating this huge victory on planet Guago, that's not the only reason they're having this meeting. This is the day that Toppo is announcing his retirement as Commander-in-Chief of the Pride Troopers. He no longer will be their leader. Belmont has wanted to retire as God of Destruction for years, and Toppo has been pushing it back, but now with this huge victory on one of the bloodiest and most epic battles in the Pride Troopers history, he thought this would be the great time to resign as his last hurrah and go for a greater calling, which would be a God of Destruction. So Toppo uses his own financials to fund a huge celebration, massive 12 tournament celebration with a bunch of games and shows, races, and it's all on a planet with beautiful skies, beautiful oceans, almost like a retreat for everybody, because he doesn't need the money. He's going to become a God of Destruction. They don't need money to survive, so he is going to pay for all of it out of pocket. There's going to be delicious food, treats, drinks. Everything is going to be fully supplied, and every Pride Troopers family members and just people from the planet that they're going to be on can join in the celebrations. Toppo dismisses them, but they start asking who's going to be the new commander, who's going to be leading the Pride Troopers now. Toppo slyly forgot this, but he just didn't want to talk about it because he's got no actual decision yet, and he can't put everybody's minds at ease, so he'd rather forget about it. But he can't decide. He's not going to put any vote for who's going to be the commander. He's going to let the Council of the Pride Troopers decide. That way he is completely removed. but he promises that it's going to be somebody that's worthy to succeed him 100%. And with that, Toppo says goodbye to all his friends, all his comrades, everybody that's been day one since the very beginning, and the festivities are about to commence. Hours after the match, some Pride Troopers finally find JIREN, and they're asking him if he knows anything about the process of who's going to be the leader for the next Pride Troopers. Has he heard anything or any candidates? And JIREN says no, I believe that 100%. I don't even think JIREN really cares. And so JIREN confesses this is the first he's hearing about all of this, actually, so he doesn't really know. And one of the Pride Troopers gets upset. It looks like these may be actual cadets or something, and he's like, they're leaving JIREN out purposely out of any discussion when it comes to the Pride Troopers. But JIREN squashes that too. Don't think ill of the troopers, and he apologizes. JIREN says he doesn't make himself available very often, so he doesn't want to burden the council because he can't be participating with every single decision, so they just kind of leave him out of it because he is on his own. He does his own thing most of the time. But this is exactly what I thought that they were talking about when they first addressed him, because they're wanting him to be the next leader for the Pride Troopers. This one recruit is a little bit out of pocket here because he says that people think that JIREN is all brawn, no brains, and he thinks that if he became commander-in-chief, this would demonstrate leadership and more people will respect him, which is, I think everybody respects JIREN over there. I don't think that he needs to become a leader in like the traditional sense to be respected, but JIREN says the same thing. He says, I don't care, and I'd rather show it. Exactly. I'd rather show what I can do and why I'm useful and why they need me. That's how I get respect. I don't need a title. And he says that it's up to the council. They have to choose somebody. If JIREN gets involved, it'll be going against Toppo's will, and he's not about to do that. JIREN says, don't think too hard about it. Enjoy yourselves, okay? You don't need to be thinking and worrying yourself over this new election. Enjoy the party that Toppo has made for you. And that is where we're at with today's manga chapter, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications if you guys want to keep up to date with this manga specifically, or any other manga that I have on here. Is going to be Blackscape signing off. Take care, guys.
Subscribe for more content. Or perish.